Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Today I'll give you a gist of Mandukya Upanishad. The Mandukya Upanishad is the most important Upanishad. It, it is very short, it's only 12 mantras, but then it tells about who we are, how we get our awareness, and what is consciousness, what is the relationship, what are the states of our consciousness, like waking up, sleep, with the dreams, and a deep sleep. So all these states, so that we know our existence, who we are, how we are functioning. So it's very, very important. So, but it is so important that even Shankaracharya's guru's guru, Shankaracharya's guru is Govinda Bhagavad Pada, and his guru is Gaudapada. Gaudapada wrote what is called a Karika on Mandukya Upanishad. He only wrote on Mandukya Upanishad, and that is 235 slokas. Though it has only 12 mantras, Mandukya Upanishad, he amplified on it, and then he added 3 extra chapters explaining Advaita, he himself. So anyone who wants to understand basic Vedanta philosophy of Advaita, it's a must that they should read Gaudapada Karika. But today, out of the 12 mantras in Mandukya Upanishad, I'll give a gist of it in about 30 minutes, less than that. And so some of you who are interested in the text of it, in the book that is there in the library, it is called Glimpses of Vedanta Philosophy. You have the actual text and mantras in that book. So we'll start with this, with the Shanti Mantram. Om Bhadram Karnebhi Shrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pasye Makshabhirya Jatraha Sthirairangai Tushtuva Gumsastanubhi Yasema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swastina Indro Vruddhasravaha Swastina Pusha Vishwavedaha Swastina Starksho Arishtanemihi Swastino Bruhaspatir Dadhatu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Basically, the Shanti Mantram says, Om, all the gods, may our ears hear what is auspicious, may we see what is auspicious, may we have a full life with steady limbs offering our praises to the gods, so that in service of God, may Indra, may Pusha, that is the sun, may Garuda, who is the destroyer of evil, and may Bruhaspati, the source of spiritual wealth, they all give us their auspicious blessings. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The Shanti 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 is said 3 times because we have what are called Dukkhatraya, 3 different dukkha's. One because of body and mind, another from surroundings, another is from what God's creations are, what God's aspects are, like cyclones and other things, earthquakes and all. So by chanting it 3 times, we want to be away from those 3 and then focus on Paramatma. That's why after every Shanti Mantram we say 3 times, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So now to Mandukya Upanishad. As I said, it is only short one and only 12 mantras. In these 12 mantras, it is the most essential. Anyone who wants to know Vedanta, basically what is Vedanta? Who am I? What is this body? What is this mind? Where did I come from? How is this universe created? With what was it created? Who created it? So to understand those kinds of things, this gives kind of basic answers for us. The importance of Mandukya Upanishad is cited in what is called Muktiko Upanishad, another Upanishad. In the verse 26 it says, Yam Kaivalya Mukteshu Kenopayena Siddhayati Mandukyamekame Valam Mumukshunam Vimuktaye. It says, question is for Mumukshutvam, that is to get liberation. What is the way? And it says, Mandukyamekame Valam Mumukshunam Vimuktaye. Mandukyam Ekam Eva Alam. Just Mandukya Upanishad is enough if we understand that. For Vimukshunam, that is those who desire us of liberation, Vimuktaye, to achieve that liberation. So that is I cited this just to show you the importance of it. So the Mandukya Upanishad, there are several books, and many of them are cited in my book on the glimpses of Vedanta. So it is basically a study of who we are, what we are, how we came about. These are, since they are part of the Vedas, these mantras came from the rishis who, after deep tapas and what they experienced, they try to tell us in words. So it's all in words. So we have to understand, first of all, the words. But to realize what they were saying, we have to do our own tapas, because they cannot transmit their experiences. They can only tell us what they experience in words. So that's why, but these words, by understanding it, it gives us inspiration to pursue this further. Now to the Mandukya Upanishad. The first two mantras, they make statements. These are all declarations, and then those declarations are explained in the next 10 mantras. So the first one, Harihi Om, Om Ichetadaksharamidam Sarvam, Tasyopavyakhyanam, Bhutam Bhavad Bhavishyaditi Sarva Onkara Eva, Echanyatrikalaatitam Tadapi Onkara Eva. Om iti etadaksharam idam sarvam. It says Om ichetadaksharam idam sarvam. Om itself, that aksharam, that letter, is entire thing. Tasyopavyakhyanam. Why was the declaration made? We'll explain to you later. So that's what it says. Tasyopavyakhyanam. So the commentary on it is actually explained later. So at the end, we'll come back to it. You will see why it was said Om itself is the entire thing, all sarvam. And also it reinforces that by saying Bhutam Bhavat Bhavishyaditi. Bhutam, past, current, Bhavat, Bhavishyad, future, everything. Sarvam Onkara Eva, everything is Onkara. Echanyatrikalaatitam Tadapi Onkara Eva. If there is anything beyond this, Echanyat, Trikalaatitam, beyond these three times, that is past, present and future, even that, Tadapi Onkara. Everything is Omkaram. So that's why Omkaram is actually identical to Brahman. It is actually a what we call a chihna. That is a symbol for that. And again the next declaration follows up. Sarvam Hetad Brahma. Just now we said Om itself is Sarvam, and then this says Sarvam Hetad Brahma. Again Sarvam is Brahma. So that is the identity of Brahma and Omkara. Because why is that Sarvam Hetad Brahma? Because every living being is one of the three states. Either it is waking state, sleeping state, or deep sleep state. Every living being. So all those three things put together later on, as we see, is called Omkara. So that's why the Omkaram, all the living beings put together, is Brahma. Sarvam Hetad Brahma. Now the real thing starts. It says, I am Atma Brahma, I am Atma Brahma. I am in this body, that Atma, that is whatever is the energy, Chaitanyam, that drives us, that makes us work. We will understand meaning of these words as we go further. All that energy, what is in us, it's like electricity. Without that, fans don't work, microwave won't work, computers won't work, everything. That's what that makes us work. We are otherwise like robots. The robots do not know what kind of software they have. The software we have that drives us is Paramatma, is that energy. That is the I am Atma. That is the Atma inside us. He is the same as Brahma. That is the all-pervasive Brahma is same as this one. That's why it is called Advaitam. That is, Dvaitam means two. Advaitam means only one. There is nothing else except that eternal energy. We'll talk about that a little later. So, I am Atma Brahma. This I am Atma Brahma, this phrase is one of the four what are called Mahavakya. Mahavakya are four great sentences in the Vedanta that very cryptically tell you everything about the Vedanta. That is the Advaita. One is I am Atma Brahma, as I just mentioned. The next one is called Prajnanam Brahma. This occurs in Aitareya Upanishad. Prajnanam Brahma, that is higher awareness, consciousness, total consciousness is itself is Brahma, which is what that is actually driving us. Whenever you say Brahma or Brahman, it is this consciousness. There is also use of Brahma as the creator Brahma of material universe. This is different. We are talking about even the one who created Brahma himself. So, like we all know the story about Brahma came from Vishnumurti's Nabhi and in Padma and all that. Then the third one is Tat Tvamasi, Tat Tvam Asi. You are that. You are that Brahma. How can you be that Brahma? Because that Brahma has what is called Maya. He has this magic, this Maya Shakti. With that he creates all this universe. And we are not aware of that. We know whatever is created by the Maya, but we don't understand Maya or the Paramatma himself. Maya is associated with Paramatma, he is beyond that. But still we don't understand him because of this Maya, which is like a shroud. But one that is called avidya. That is, what does Maya do? We think our body is real, we are the one. We all know that we would not last for long, maybe 80 years, 90 years. On this earth we came here as visitors for some time and then go. Trillions have come and gone, trillions more will come. But still we somehow think that we are permanent, and then we get involved in all these worldly things, all the objects, all the emotions, everything we go through that. That is called avidya, that is ignorance. Because you are not seeing the real thing. When you are not seeing the real thing, what is inside everyone, then you see only the gross objects. That is called avidya. So when the avidya goes from the created by Maya, then you realize Brahman. That's why thou art that, you are that. You are that only when you lose that avidya. The other one is called Aham Brahmasmi. This is the fourth one, fourth Mahavakya. Aham Brahmasmi. Tattvamasi is what is called Upadesha Vakya. That is, the guru teaches the student. When the student goes through the practice and realizes Brahman, he realizes he is Aham Brahmasmi. I am that Brahman. I am not this body, I am not this hands, this thing, this mind, which is continuously changing at every second. And it is the same thing that is driving every human being around, every animal around, everything, even inanimate objects. So that is what I am. I am not this one. I am just it's like as though this energy is just renting this body for 80 years or something, then it goes away. And if you realize Paramatma, we merge in him. Otherwise you take next birth, next death. Those kinds of go through the cycles. So that is, you have to be an observer, a witness, and not get involved in this. That is the Aham Brahmasmi feeling. Here I have to say one more word also. Great rishis who achieve that, they always have that consciousness. That is, by the way, I use two words here. One is awareness, another is consciousness. Awareness is what you get with your body, that is with your senses. You are aware of the world around, aware of the people, your relatives, your children, this and that. But consciousness is the universal consciousness, that universal consciousness. So let us use those words, awareness and consciousness. So Aham Brahmasmi is when one becomes conscious of Paramatma. So great rishis, once they realize that, they see throughout all of us only the Paramatma. They don't see who you are, but they see through it. For us, they appear like as though they are like us. I mean, they eat, they walk around, they go through that, but their viewpoint is quite different. I mean, like sage Vasishtha, for example, goes to Rama's court every day, but then he's just an observer. And if he is asked for some advice by Rama, he would give it. But whatever goes on, he is always beyond that. He is always looking at the whole thing as transient, as impermanent, as untouched by this whole thing. To give you an example of that, what we understand, suppose you go to a film, a theater, and see a very horror movie, and the movie is really horror, creates a lot of horror. You sit at the edge of the chair, but you don't get out, because you know somewhere in the back of your mind that you are safe in the theater. In the same way, the rishis have always in the back of their mind that all this is Brahman, not this, not this. But then as long as they have the body, they will function like all of us. So that is these are the four Mahavakyas which I thought I will introduce to you. So the Ayamatma Brahma is one of those Mahavakyas that come in this second mantra in Mandukya Upanishad. And then later, here it gives in this mantra, Soyam Atma Chatushpat, Saha Ayam Atma Chatushpat. That Atma in us, it creates four states. Chatushpat means doesn't mean four parts because Brahma is indivisible. He creates us in us four states. That is the essence of Mandukya Upanishad, which I am going to tell you a little bit more. So I will read the second mantra once again. Sarvam Hetad Brahma, all this is Brahma. I am Atma Brahma, the Atma that drives in us, the energy, the Chaitanyam in me is also Brahma. That is the statement of Advaita. Soyam Atma Chatushpat, that Atma is creating us four states. What are the four states? That's what we will see now. The first state is called Vaishvanara. The Vaishvanara state is the waking state. Waking state means that is Jagarita. In Sanskrit it's called Jagarita. So this waking state, your senses function, you see everything, you grasp through your mind, and how do you function how do you recognize objects around you? How do you know? That's what this third mantra says. This third mantra talks about the very first state, that is the waking state. Jagarita sthano bahishprajnaha saptanga ekona vimshati mukha sthula bhuk vaishvanaraha pradhamah padaha. That is Jagarita sthano, that is during the waking times. Bahishprajna, you are only aware of outside things. How do you become aware? Saptanga ekona vimshati mukha. Saptanga, 7 parts. Ekona vimshati mukha. Vimshati is 20. Ekona means 1 less, that is 19. 19 mukha. Mukha means here inputs. What are the saptanga, the 7? The 7 are physical aspects of it. That is the head, the eyes, the mouth, the vital breath, the torso, kidney, and feet. These are the saptanga. And the 19 inputs are 5 jnanendriya, sensory organs, and then 5, that is eyes and ears, nose and tongue and skin. These are the 5 jnanendriyas. And then 5 karmendriyas, that is executive organs with which we do things. That is mouth, hands, legs, and excretion and sex organs. So these 10, and on top of it, pancha pranas, 5 pranas. Prana is not just breathing. Prana means they are vital forces in the body. There are 5 of them, panchatha prana. Prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana. Prana, pana, udana, samana. Prana is the one that controls our eyes and breathing and everything. Apana, the digestion part. Vyana is the energy that goes into our nerves. Udana is the one which pushes the consciousness up. Eventually, for the yogis, they want it to be almost to the end of the head and then go out of that. Samana distributes the energy. Whatever we eat, whatever energy we get, it apportions it as is required to the brain, to the body, various parts, to the heart, and all that. Samana, it has a distribution function. So these 5 panchapranas. So 5 angas, 5 we have seen 5 jnanendriyas, 5 karmendriyas, 5 panchapranas, and then manaha, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. Mana is mind, buddhi is intellect, chitta is memory, and ahankara is ego. That is the conscious. These 19 together with the saptanga, they create all these senses. Ever since we were born, from the moment we come out, all these things start functioning. Even a day-old baby would come to know slowly. All the sounds they listen, they just gobble up like a sponge from the world universe. And then as we grow up, what happens is we fall in love with some of them and we don't like some of them, and then we build walls around us. And this is the same process everybody goes through, except that different people, they go through the different surroundings. So like even in the same family, 2 brothers, they read differently, they have different friends, they think. So everybody grows up differently. And they collect what I can call computer language database. That is all the objects they see, all the things they see, and everything is the database. So different people have different databases, even from the same home. And then on top of it, they have all these sattva, rajas, tamo gunas, three gunas, and then the six shatrus, shat shatrus, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. With all these things, they interpret the data that they have. So we react differently. Same thing, different people, different reacting. But as long as you understand, these are all the things that are from external world created by the Paramatma inside, then you take them with a grain of salt instead of getting involved in them. But we get involved, we get emotional, we don't like somebody who doesn't agree with us. And then the fights and wars and everything, all the things that we see in the world happens. So this is a very important slokam because it says in the waking time, how do we respond? How do you react? How do you get these inputs? How do you recognize? How do you get the awareness? I will read it once again. Jagarita sthano bahishprajnaha saptanga ekona vimshati mukhaha sthula bhak vaishvanaraha prathamah padaha. So in the waking time, that's how we see the world, we get to know about the world. What happens during sleeping time? Sleeping time, that's another state. Why do we sleep? Because the senses get tired and they sleep. During sleep time, all these 7 and 21 19 function, except that our buddhi is not very active. So what happens is we see all kinds of things, though they are driven partly by what we see in the waking time. Because during waking time, your buddhi is functioning, whereas in the sleep time, you may see 10-headed elephant, but which you never saw during waking time. So the fourth mantram, it talks about this particular sleep. Sapnasthano antah prajnaha saptanga ekona vimshati mukhaha pravivikta bhuk taijaso dvitiyah padaha. So this is called Taijasa. Earlier state is called Vaishvanaraha, the Sanskrit term for it. This one is called Taijasa. Let's call it sleep with the dreams. So in the dreams again, same Saptangam, that is seven body parts, and Ekvana Vimshati Mukhaha, 19 inputs function. Again the same thing will function, except that your Antah Prajna, that is your awareness is inside. You go all over, you travel, you fly, you go by cars here and there, see all people, but you are there lying in the bed. And you are not going anywhere, but you get all these images, all those kinds of things. So that is the second state. I will move a little faster because I want to limit it to for 30 minutes. And then what about the third state? In the third state, it is called Sushupta. In the Sushupta, there is nothing. For example, it defines Sushuptam. What is Sushuptam? In the mantra 5, and I will just read that. Yatta supto na kanchana kamam kamayate na kanchana swapnam pasyati tat sushuptam. It defines sushuptam. In the sushuptam, in the deep sleep, you are not conscious of anything. You don't have any desires, you don't have any emotions, any anger, this and that, grief, nothing. You won't know anything. You are not even aware of your body parts. Sushuptasthana eki bhutaha prajnana ghana evanandamayo hyanandabhuk cheto mukhaha prajnaha trutiya padaha. So the third state of awareness is called prajna. So in this prajna, you are not aware of anything. That is the whole consciousness, awareness becomes prajnana ghana, as though it's condensed. It's as though when you travel, you take put all your clothes in a bag, and then when you go to the hotel, open the bag and open it up. Next morning when you get up, you realize that you had a great sleep because you didn't have any dreams. But that doesn't mean you forgot everything. You open up. Because the prajnana ghana, it becomes again, it gives you again that awareness in the waking time as well as sleeping time. So when you wake up again, you will forget. Otherwise, at the end of each day, each night of good sleep, you will have to ask, who are you, who are you, who are you again. You forget your own wife and children and all that. So there is a continuity. That's why Shankaracharya says in a great morning prayer slokam, Yat swapna jagara sushuptam aveti nityam tad brahmanishkalamaham nacha bhuta sangaha. He says the one that keeps continuity, that is what I am. not this body, not this mind, not this one. So that is, so the Prajnana Ghana is like condensed awareness, and then it becomes open. But it's not the same as the universal consciousness. What is then universal consciousness? That is the fourth state. Actually, there is no state, but it is called a state just to distinguish between the other three states. That is defined in 7, mantra 7. Everyone who is desirous of understanding Advaita should understand this particular verse. I will just read it and then explain to you. What is that fourth one is called? Fourth one is called Turiyam. Turiyam is same as the consciousness, the eternal consciousness. Remember that I am using the word consciousness now, not awareness. Prajnana Ghana also is a condensed awareness. But the total universal consciousness, which is bottled up in our body because of our limitations, it is not able to, because of our limitations, we are not able to recognize that universal consciousness. We somehow we are happy just with our limited awareness. So it is like air coming in. Suppose you have 10 different parts of different sizes. Each part has air, but there is contained to that particular part of air. Or you pour water, the water is contained within the size of that particular part. Same way we are here. The consciousness functions in our limited body with limited consciousness, limited senses. You can only see so much, you can only hear so much, you can only hear that. So we have very limited awareness, not the total consciousness. So the fourth state is the total consciousness, called Turiya. That is the Paramatma. You can call it by any name. And you can call Vishnu, you can call Shiva, you can call Devi. They all represent this. For example, I will read that 7th slokam. Nantah prajnam, na bahish prajnam, no abhayatah prajnam, na prajnana ghanam, na prajnam, na prajnam, adrustamavyaharyam agrahyam alakshanam, achinchamavyapadesyam, ekatma prachayasaram, prapanchopasamam, shantam, shivam, advaitam, chaturdham manyante, sa atma sa vijñeyaha. This is the 7th mantra in the Mandukya Upanishad. It says, who is this Turiyam? How do you define the Turiyam? Defining Turiyam is same as defining Paramatma. It says, Nantah prajnam, it's not the inside awareness. Na bahish prajnam, it's not what you see outside. No abhayatah prajnam, it's not even a mix of these two. Na prajnana ghanam, just now we talked about the condensed awareness. I am not that. Na prajnam is not awareness. Na prajnam is not also lack of awareness. But then what it is, it tries to say a few characteristics. Adrustam, avyayam, avyavaharyam, agrahyam, alakshanam. You can see it, you can transact business with it, you can understand it, it has no properties. Achincham, you can't even think about it, how it is. Avyapadesyam, you can't describe also to anybody. So then what do you do? How do you say what it is? Here it starts, gives a hint. Ekatma prachayasaram. It is the essence of that Atma, the Paramatma. That's what it is. Prapanchopasamam, it's way beyond all the Srishti, all the creation that you see. Shantam, it is peace. Shivam, it is beautiful and auspicious. Advaitam, the word Advaitam comes right here. It's not, there is no second, this is only one. Chaturdham manyante, this is called the Turiyam. Chaturdham is Turiyam. Chaturdham manyante, here comes the most important one. Sa atma sa vijñeyaha. Now, having described what this Atma is, it gives us an injunction for all human beings, a kind of order. Sa atma sa vijñeyaha. You have to learn, you have to understand what that Atma is. You have to. How do you understand that? It's a difficult thing. Not by just by listening to lectures, not by listening to songs and other things, but they help you. They help you to say that there is something there that we need to understand. But it has to be by practice. By having, first of all, understanding there is something that is what we are. I am not this body, and then meditating on that particular thing. That leads to us the Onkara. The meditation, the Onkara is all the three states previously that we talked about, the waking state and the sleep with the dreams and the deep sleep. Each one is called Akara, Ukara, Makara. So if you put all the three, Om, That is the Om. And for the Chaturdham, for Turiyam, there is no symbol. It is silence is the symbol. So when you say Om, you should not say till you lose your breath, oh, no, that's not the way to say. You have to give equal weights for all the four. Om, Om. So when you say Om, you have to think about all the three states and then say, I am beyond that during that silence, which is the Turiya Sthiti. That's what I am really. And then come back to Om. Turiyam also should get equal space. So all the four should get equal space. Om, Om. So during the silence period, focus on Turiya. With that, slowly you will see, you will be able to concentrate more on your mind. Om is actually considered as the support, alambanam. You can also meditate on a like a Lord Venkateswara, Lord Vishnu, or any of them, Shiva. But the Omkara is it has no akara. That's how it is. It is called great alambanam. It is supposed support. In Kathopanishad it says, Etad alambanam sreshtam, etad alambanam param, etad alambanam jnatva brahmaloke mahiyate. That's what Kathopanishad says. With this Omkaram, this is the vehicle to reach Paramatma. So the Omkaram now is Akara, Ukaram, Makaram for all the three states, and then Turiyam, that is the fourth state. So these three states and then the Omkaram. So now you can see how this Omkaram, if you go back to the original first one, where we talked about first mantram, Omicheta Dakshana Vidam Sarvam, when it says that Sarvam, that's what it means. So that's why if you understand these few slokas and then the essence of it. In fact, even other like the pujas that we do or the stotras we do also say the same thing. If you go to Lalita Sahasranam, for example, the very first sloka says, Sri Mata Sri Maharajni Srimat Simhasaneshwari Chidagnikunda Sambhuta Devakarya Samujjata. Chidagnikunda Sambhuta, that is from the eternal energy, she came to do what? Devakarya Samujjata, to do all this Srishti, to do all. That's why Shiva Parvati. Parvati is representative of Maya and Prakriti. They both are indivisible. They are always there. The Paramatma and Prakriti, Maya, they are all together all the time. And that's why in the 44th sloka of Lalita Sahasranama, the real thing comes. In the beginning they talk about how she looks and how it is all the great, how she kills all the Rakshasas and everything. But the real message is in the 44th sloka. Nirlepa, Nirmala, Nicha, Nirakara, Nirakula, Nirguna, Nishkala, Santa, Nishkama, Nirupaplava. Nirakara, she has no shape, she has nothing. Nicham, she is eternal. Nirguna, she has no particular qualities. Same way, in Lalita, in Vishnu Sahasranam also, if you look at the 77 verse, what it says is, Vishwamurtir Mahamurti. That is, he is Vishwamurti. He is also Mahamurti. Deepta Murtir Amurtiman. Amurtiman. See, it says Amurtiman. It talks about all the things that his names and 1,000 names, all the names we talk about. But again it says Amurtiman because the Paramatma himself is a total energy. It is that Shakti. It has no particular shape or color or this or that. It is beyond all these things. And then again it says in that slokam, Anekamurti Avyaktaha. Anekamurti. Again Avyaktaha. He is Avyakta. Avyakta means Vyaktam. You cannot see him. Avyakta is you cannot see. Vyakta is what you can see. So he becomes Vyakta in Anekamurti, in all these shapes. Sahasasirisham Devam Visvaksham Visvashambhuvam. He, all these ears, all the eyes, all the legs, everything, all the creatures are all there. Directly he himself. That is the Vyakta Prapancham. When he is Avyaktam, Amurtiman, he has no Murti, he has no name, he has nothing. So that's why when we make a puja, when we go to the temple, when we see, we have to think of the Paramatma. Though the Murti helps us to focus and to concentrate. So with this I will stop. Hope we got some basic idea of the Mandukya Upanishad. I will close with some couple of Shanti mantras. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrichor Mamrutangamaya. Om, lead me from unreal to the real. What is unreal? This universe, what we see, what we perceive, where we get engulfed every day in and day out. We have to do what we need to do. It's not that we have to simply abandon the world, but we have to keep what function in this world in a way, always keeping in mind this is unreal. So from unreal to the real. We have our objective, whatever we need to do, we have to do. We should not abandon anything, but be detached. Don't get emotional, don't get involved. Again, when you do that, lead me from darkness to the light. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. Tamas means darkness. Lead me to the light. Mrichormamrutangamaya. From death to immortality. That means it doesn't mean that you don't have death. The physical body always dies. Basically, you merge with Paramatma. When you do that, that's immortal. You realize you are really that is Atma Sakshatkara. That is when you are really the Paramatma, that Turiyam, then this body is inconsequential. It just comes and goes, and you may have hundreds of bodies before, we may have hundreds of bodies later. So we have to be a little bit like a witness of this body. Whatever the body is, you have to of course take care of it, and you have to do whatever you need to do. Now with this, the next one is Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhi Namastu Mavadvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. You all know this mantra. Om, may He protect us both, that is both the teacher and the student together. May He protect us both through the results of our knowledge. May we attain vigor and strength together. That is the teacher and student, it's a prayer that's given between both together. Let what we study be invigorating. May we not be hostile to each other. Ma vidvishavahai, because the teacher and student spend several years together. They should not become hostile to each other. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So with that I will close. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Tat Sat. Harihi Om. Swasti.